Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the channel. So today I have a video that a lot of people are going to like, and also a video that a lot of people are going to disagree with, so feel free to let me know your opinion and let's get right into it. So our first player on the list is going to be Yannick Ngakoue. So our first player on this list is going to be Yannick Ngakoue of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I believe that the reason that he is going to be traded is he has wanted out of Jacksonville for quite a while and believes he should be getting paid like a premier pass rusher in the league. And just recently he got in an argument with the team owner's son, Tony Khan, trying to force his way out of Jacksonville and targeting Tony and calling him names and this and that. And he's making it very obvious that he does not want to play for the Jaguars anymore. But I mean, come on, man. Talking bad to the team owner's son, that isn't going to get you traded any faster. You're just going to still remain on the team and be miserable for months maybe. And so some of Ngakoue's stats throughout just his short career: he has accumulated over 37.5 sacks, 14 forced fumbles, 42 tackles for loss, and 85 quarterback hits. Ridiculous number for someone who's only been in the league just 4 seasons. So my best fit for Ngakoue would either have to be the Jets or the Ravens. The Jets don't really have any true pass rushing talent, or any pass rushing talent at that, but the Ravens do. The Ravens have Matt Judon and Calais Campbell, who Ngakoue was teammates with as of last year. But I do believe that the Ravens would be the best fit for Ngakoue, but that's up to the owners to determine if they want to put Ngakoue in a good situation or a bad situation, and who wants to trade for Ngakoue in the first place. But my 2 top teams would definitely be the Jets or the Ravens. Ngakoue could be the player that pushes the Ravens over the top and adds that extra pass rushing talent that can get them further through the playoffs. So our second player on this list, and probably my most favorite player on this list, is going to have to be Jamal Adams. And he's had tensions with the front office for what it seems like to be his entire career. Ever since his first offseason, he's been involved in trade rumors with every team, everywhere, it seems like. But Jamal just wants to play football. He wants to get away from the drama surrounding him. And just recently, he stated that he will not be attending voluntary team workouts this offseason, which isn't unheard of, but for a player who just wants to go out and play football and be around his teammates, it is kind of unusual, and it makes you want to think that he does kind of want to get out of New York a little bit, and it definitely feels like that the Jets front office wants him out as well. But Jamal Adams is a great all-around player. He can play any position in the secondary and probably most positions for linebackers, honestly. He doesn't have any off-the-field issues or drama. He just makes an offense account for his playmaking abilities, and that they need to plan around him, because no matter where he plays, he's shutting down that side of the field in the run or pass game. He can play strong, he can play free, he can play over the top, he can play in the box. Wherever this guy is, he's just going to wreck an offense. So far over Adams' career, he does have 2 interceptions, 25 pass deflections, 6 forced fumbles, and 12 sacks to go along with 28 tackles for loss and 23 quarterback hits. And just looking at those numbers, it looks like he's an outside linebacker who's rushing the passer every play, but that's coming from a strong safety who is one of the most instinctual and biggest playmaking safeties in the league right now. And he's only going into his 4th season. And so my best fits for Jamal Adams, if he does get traded, but I do believe that Jamal Adams would be a great fit with the Bears or the Philadelphia Eagles. Philly just needs a leader in the secondary after losing Malcolm Jenkins, and Jamal Adams would be a great player to contribute to that secondary. As for the Bears, if you pair Jamal Adams along with Eddie Jackson, you're going to have the best safety tandem in the league, like no doubt about it. If you pair those 2 together, nothing's getting behind them. Everything's going to stay in front of them, and they're going to be making a ton of plays. So my third player on this list is going to be Leonard Fournette, and I believe that the reason that Leonard Fournette will be traded this offseason is that trade rumors have recently popped up with Fournette, and Jacksonville isn't afraid to trade anyone for anything, no matter what they do or how good they are and how much they contribute to their team. We've seen it time and time again with a lot of notable players, including Jalen Ramsey, AJ Boye, Dante Fowler Jr., Calais Campbell, and Nick Foles. And these were all within the last, and everyone that I just mentioned all has one thing in common, which was they were all a Jacksonville Jaguar for 3 seasons or less, with the exception of Jalen Ramsey, but he was only there for 3.5 seasons, so I'll let that one slide. Some standout stats for Fournette over his career, even while playing on a primarily bad Jaguars team. In 2019, he accumulated 1,152 yards on the ground to go along with 3 rushing touchdowns and 4.3 yards per carry, which was a career high. Fournette also had 76 catches for 522 yards to go along with the 1,152 yards on the ground. While he didn't score a touchdown through the year, the 76 catches might come as a shock for most people. I know it definitely did for me, because if you watched Leonard Fournette at LSU, he didn't catch the ball a lot. He had catches here and there, but he wasn't putting up like 50 plus catches because they were giving him the ball 50 times a game, it seemed like. Over the course of his career, he has just 3 career fumbles, which is really good for a running back that is looking to be traded to a new team. That's a lot of leverage for the Jaguars to get more out of him. But a knock against him is he hasn't scored a lot of touchdowns. Like, he's rarely scored any touchdowns at all. But touchdowns don't exactly mark how good a player is. I mean, he did have 1,152 yards and 4.3 yards per carry. But you would like to see your running back get into the end zone more. So my best fits for Leonard Fournette would have to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the LA Rams, or the Seattle Seahawks. And they all have something in common. They all need a true number 1 running back. I know Seattle has Chris Carson. The Rams have CJ Henderson, but the Bucs could really use Leonard Fournette the most out of any of these teams, I do believe, because the Bucs don't really have anyone. They've signed a lot of talent this offseason, signed and traded. So Leonard Fournette to the Bucs definitely seems like it would be a really good move, and it's a move that I really like a lot. And so my reasoning behind Njoku being traded out of Cleveland is because they brought in Austin Hooper, who has been phenomenal for the Falcons over the last couple of years. But the Browns also already have Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, Rashard Hollywood Higgins, Nick Chubb, and Kareem Hunt to throw the ball to and give carries to. So a number 2 tight end isn't exactly needed with all the surrounding talent. Yeah, a good number 2 tight end is always nice to have, but when that number 2 on your team can be a number 1 on someone else's team, you can get a lot in return for that, and that's very valuable to have, especially since the Browns aren't a 2 tight end system. And I do believe that Njoku will be featured primarily as a receiving tight end, or maybe as a number 2 tight end in the right system. There are a couple teams, but I definitely see Njoku starting somewhere, or at least getting like 65+% of the snaps somewhere on a 2 tight end team. So in 2019, David Njoku missed 12 games due to injury. And throughout his 3 seasons with the Browns so far, he's amassed 93 catches for 1,066 yards and 9 total touchdowns. But he does have 8 drops in the previous 2 seasons, which is a really high number, especially for tight ends, especially for tight ends that aren't catching 60 plus passes a year. Njoku's been that guy who's caught anywhere from about 30 to 50 passes each season. So 8 drops in 3 years is pretty alarming. And my best fit for Njoku is definitely the New England Patriots or the Arizona Cardinals. I know that Arizona Cardinals still have Ricky Seals-Jones, but I do believe that Njoku would be able to elevate the play more than Ricky Seals-Jones would. And having a good tight end is good for any young quarterback, whether it be the Patriots or the Cardinals or another team with a young quarterback. A good tight end that can just run short underneath, digs and drags, and go up the seam, that will help with any young quarterback's development tremendously. But I do see Njoku going to New England over Arizona just because New England is really lacking a true playmaker at tight end. And at the 5th spot on this list, this should come as a surprise to absolutely nobody unless you've been living under a rock for at least 2 years. And that's going to be Josh Rosen, who, as everyone knows, was just drafted a few seasons ago and is already looking for his 3rd team in 3 seasons. But Rosen still needs to perform even on bad teams. There's no reason he shouldn't be starting. The fact that Ryan Fitzpatrick beat out Rosen this past season after just 3 starts is super alarming in itself and should have anyone worried that wants to trade for him. Like, how is Ryan Fitzpatrick beating out a top 10 pick? Yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick has been okay throughout his career, but someone taking as high as Rosen was, there's absolutely no reason that Rosen shouldn't have started the entire season. So maybe it's Josh Rosen's the problem, maybe the system he's in is the problem, or maybe Miami just wasn't playing him for whatever reason, but I don't see that being a possibility. So throughout Rosen's 2-year career so far, he started less than 20 games, and in those games he has only 12 touchdowns to 19 career interceptions, which is an alarming number. He doesn't have a ton of yards and only 12 touchdowns in 2 seasons. I know he didn't play fully those 2 seasons, but 12 touchdowns to 19 interceptions in 2 seasons, that is not looking too good going into the future. So the best situations that I could see for Rosen moving forward would either be the New England Patriots or the Indianapolis Colts. Now, if Rosen were to be traded to New England, he'd have to beat out Jarrett Stidham for the starting job. Stidham, who is going into his 2nd year as a Patriot, sat behind Tom Brady. He already knows their system, so I could see Stidham beating out Rosen. But my favorite scenario for Rosen right now would be to go to the Indianapolis Colts so he can sit behind Phillip Rivers. He can learn and he can develop behind a quarterback who's proven, who's been in the league a super long time. He started hundreds of games and can show Rosen how to be a pro and will teach Rosen how to be a good quarterback in the NFL. Moving on, we have our first wide receiver on the list, which is Corey Davis. So my reasoning behind Corey Davis being traded is that everyone knows how good A.J. Brown was as a rookie last year, and he essentially cemented himself as a true number 1 receiver for the Tennessee Titans going into 2020. I believe Davis would be a good number 2 option for almost any team in the NFL with his skill set. I just believe he's in the wrong system in Tennessee, where Davis is more of a big body, box out defenders, go up and get it type player, where A.J. Brown is more of a quick underneath guy. I just believe that Davis is in the wrong kind of system for his skill set. And I don't see Davis staying with the Titans after they declined his 5th year option, but who knows, he could have a huge breakout season and be re-signed still. But having A.J. Brown on the team already as your true number 1 and misutilizing Corey Davis, I don't see him staying on the team much longer, and I do believe he will be traded this offseason. So in Davis's short time with the Tennessee Titans, he does have 142 catches for 1,867 yards, but just 6 touchdowns. He didn't have any his rookie year. Corey Davis has started in 36 of possible 48 games. He has missed 6 due to injury, and he does have 10 drops over the last 2 seasons, which is very concerning. Drops are never good, especially when it's at that volume. 10 drops in 2 seasons is not very good, and most teams will see that, and that will be a little red flag for them. But Davis does have a great skill set, and if he's utilized well in the right system, I believe that he can be a great number 2 wide receiver. So my best fit for Corey Davis would either be the Vikings, the Colts, or the Jets, but I'm leaning more towards the Vikings. I love the thought of Corey Davis being a Viking. I feel like he'd fit in there so well and complement Adam Thielen really well, especially with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has never really had a true jump ball receiver, so I feel like Davis in the Viking system would fit really well for him and the Vikings offense moving forward. And so our second tight end on this list is going to be O.J. Howard. And my reasoning behind this is everyone knows that the Buccaneers have brought in Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski. And in a Bruce Arians offense where he doesn't feature tight ends as receivers, but more as blockers in a sense, I don't believe that Arians will change his system to feature less wide receivers and more tight ends, especially with the wide receiver depth. And everyone knows how good Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were last year. So I don't see having multiple tight ends on the field at a time a possibility for the Buccaneers. I do believe that O.J. Howard will be moved this offseason. And some of his stats while playing in a reduced role he does have 94 career catches for 1,456 yards and 12 touchdowns in his 3 seasons, but just one of those touchdowns came in 2019, which is a really alarming number. Just 1 touchdown for a tight end throughout the season. So OJ Howard did see his production drop off very significantly in Bruce Arians' offense last year, as he only counted for 1 touchdown. And moving forward, I'm sure everyone knows that it is very obvious that Arians is not going to be featuring 2 tight ends and that they're going to move on from OJ Howard. So my best fit for OJ Howard is either going to be the Dallas Cowboys or the Houston Texans, as they both do need a true number 1 tight end. But I do believe that OJ Howard to the Houston Texans will make more sense than to the Cowboys, especially with Deshaun Watson there. So I do believe that OJ Howard going to the Houston Texans will be more likely than him going to the Dallas Cowboys, as the Texans haven't had a great tight end in a very long time. I believe that OJ Howard can step in and he'll instantly be playing better than any of the tight ends on the Houston Texans roster, and I do believe that that is a very good move for the Texans moving forward as well. And so the last player on my list today is going to be Alshon Jeffrey. And my reasoning behind Jeffrey being traded from the Eagles is that he's an old aging receiver with injury history and a base salary of nearly $10 million. While Alshon Jeffrey is still a good receiver, I just don't see the Eagles keeping him in his salary with nearly $10 million when they drafted 3 wide receivers, including Jalen Reagor, in the first round and traded for Marquise Goodwin. And they still have J.J. Arcega-Whiteside and Deshaun Jackson, whose base salary is just over $1 million, but it's also very incentive based and bonuses. And most of the receivers on the Eagles roster are more explosive and a bigger threat to a defensive scheme than Alshon Jeffrey is. And some of his stats since joining the Philadelphia Eagles: he has 165 catches for 2,122 yards and 19 touchdowns in 3 seasons, but only playing 38 of possible 48 games and having those kind of numbers. That's still really good for an aging wide receiver who could be looking to go on to his 3rd team. So my best fit for Alshon Jeffrey would be the New York Giants. The Giants need a good jump ball wide receiver. They have Golden Tate and Sterling Shepard, but I could see Alshon Jeffrey playing on the outside and being a really good jump ball number 2 wide receiver. And overall, Alshon Jeffrey fits really well into the Giants scheme to me. So that concludes my list of players that I believe are most likely to be traded before the start of the 2020 season. So let me know what you think of my list and if there are any players I missed or left out. Thank you.